team, happy Monday as always. Mr. McCarthy here with the first in a new leadership insight on the subject of situational leadership. I decided to talk a little bit about this because it's a topic that's come up frequently as I've had some Q&A with people around this whole leadership insights approach. And as always, there will be a series of these broken down into posts over the next few weeks, but I'm not sure until I get deeper into the topic if we'll have 2 or 3 or 4 posts, but it'll work itself out. And as always, I'm really focused on providing practical, applicable insight. And this is a perfect topic for that, so for our schools, for our lives, in general, I try not to get too theoretical. And this is a topic that, I'll actually be able to post some charts and diagrams and really useful tools that we can print off and actually go and use then as we apply the learnings from the topic. So let's get started. Situational leadership is a model, arguably the most recognized, utilized, and effective leadership and influencing tools in the history of behavioral science. Developed by Dr. Paul Hersey in the late 60s and then really mastered by the leadership author Ken Blanchard. It's a very powerful, very flexible tool, very, very simple, and enables leaders of all kinds, whether it's school managers, peer leaders, teachers, parents, whoever, and helps them be more effective in influencing and developing and supporting others. And the whole model is based on the relationship between the leader and the follower. And it serves as a framework to allow the leader to analyze each situation, hence the name situational leadership. Three key elements to that: the amount of guidance and direction that the leader gives, and the amount of support that the leader provides, and the readiness or ability of the follower, specific to the task that they're actually trying to deliver upon. So great situational leaders learn to demonstrate 4 common and critical leadership competencies. I've mentioned these in the past. They diagnose, so they understand the situation they're trying to influence. They adapt, it's the most important of all probably. They adjust their behavior to that situation. They communicate in a really clear, common language. And then they advance, they manage the movement and progression of that situation. The situational leadership model uses a process that our leaders can leverage to effectively influence, like I said, the behavior of others. The process is so simple to both understand and apply that actually Hersey often described it as organized common sense. At its core, situational leadership provides an understanding of that relationship, right, between the effective style of leadership and the level of readiness, we'll call it that, or ability of the follower of that leader. But it does much more than that. More specifically, situational leaders conduct highly effective coaching conversations by understanding when a particular leadership style has a high probability of success and when it does not. They skillfully influence up and down and across organizations by knowing when to be consistent and when to be flexible. They create more productive teams by accelerating development of individuals. I know we've talked about that a number of times. It's critically important. And then they proactively address the dynamics and performance of the whole team, particularly if that performance is regressing. And finally, they effectively drive the behavioral change and the results by communicating, as I said, through a common language. Very practical, simple stuff. Ken Blanchard took situational leadership to another level. The key to situational leadership, as Blanchard would put it, is one size does not fit all. And actually, Blanchard's research shows that employees need different levels of direction and support depending on their level of competence and commitment. That's very important too. You can be very competent, but if you have a differing level of commitment, again, the leader will lead a different approach. Excuse me. The problem is most leaders only have one leadership style. And they apply that to everyone in every situation. 54% of leaders only use one leadership style, regardless of the situation, which means that 50% of the time, leaders are using the wrong style to meet the needs of that situation. Great situational leaders give the people exactly what they need when they need it. They offer guidance and caring. They provide just the right amount of direction and support, to help the members of a team be successful. They know how to develop competent, self-reliant contributors who deliver results. Using different leadership styles helps accelerate the development of a team. With appropriate direction and support, people progress more quickly through development levels, much more quickly, accelerating growth. They can deliver more value, right? Obviously. So situational leadership model instills a common language within its organization. When leaders and team members speak that same common language, they understand each other a lot more clearly. Very, very powerful ability. A common language boosts the effectiveness, right, and creates that kind of culture. So, having that language kind of formalized, right, so everybody understands the terminology that's used within the team is really, really important. Most importantly then, right, leaders who match their style to the needs of the people, to the ability, the capability of their people, they're going to increase commitment, they're going to increase engagement, they're going to increase retention. So simply put, there are 4 styles of situational leadership applied to 4 development levels or abilities. And I'm gonna post a chart to help us understand this a little bit better. These leadership styles are telling, selling, participating, and delegating. The 4 levels of development are described as the enthusiastic beginner, the disillusioned learner, the reluctant contributor, and the peak performer. And next week, we'll talk about how we apply these 4 different styles of leadership, of telling, selling, participating, and delegating, and how we recognize which of the 4 levels of development an individual is at a certain task, right? So again, those 4 are: is somebody an enthusiastic beginner? Are they a disillusioned learner? Are they a reluctant contributor? Or are they a peak performer? And then we'll apply kind of like a matrix of these 4 leadership styles with the 4 levels of development. It'll make more sense also next week when we talk and we actually look at this chart. It's meant to provide extreme adaptability. These 4 basic styles are tailored to try to create the highest level of success from each employee or team. It's all very obvious, but too often leaders get these all kind of mixed up, and they'll use one style in any situation, all situations, or they'll apply the wrong style of leadership to a situation. And next week I'm going to take a look much more closely at these levels of development, the leadership styles, and we'll get really practical. So take a look at the link below. Maybe you could print out the chart in preparation for next week's video, or save it somewhere so that as you're listening to next week's video, you can have the chart as a reference tool as well. So that's it for now. As always, reflect and practice, and if you have any questions or feedback, I'd love to hear from you. Thanks. Have a good week.